Supernatural characters in wrestling are either hit, see The Undertaker, or miss, see Papa Shango, and most of the time they can be difficult to book in a wrestling universe. With the recent releases of all members of the Wyatt Six, among many other WWE and NXT wrestlers, on this video we'll have a look at what I would have liked to have seen done with the Wyatt Six, and where I think they went wrong. And by they going wrong, I mean the creative for them. First up, we got Chad Gable is okay. The early summer of 2024, in June, the debut of the Wyatt Six was one of the most highly anticipated and awesome debuts I can remember in modern times. On that night, the arena lights went dark as Jey Uso was in the midst of yeeting. The familiar one piano note was played, and out of the darkness came Nikki Cross as Abby the Witch with the lantern. Backstage, Eric Rowan as Ramblin' Rabbit, Dexter Lumis as Mercy the Buzzard, and Joe Gacy as Huskus the Pig Boy stood over fallen backstage personnel, along with a bloody Chad Gable who looked like he was whack-a-moled by Eric Rowan's oversized mallet. This was a scene straight out of a horror movie, and among the flickering lights and fog emerged the man himself, Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy, declaring to the world that we're here. And with that, the Wyatt Six arrived in spectacular, spooky style. And the next week on Raw, Chad Gable showed up with a bandage on his forehead, but he was otherwise fine, and an awesome debut went awry in part due to this. I would have liked to have seen Chad Gable sell this by being out for weeks, and when he was finally to return, the psychological scarrings and fear of an obviously shaking Gable would have sold this attack in the Wyatt Six even further as a threat. This would have went a long way with anyone who would betray family, along with the New Day, who would go on later that year to betray the Big E and the Judgment Day with all the betrayals that happened in that group. Family first. This leads me into the Wyatt Six and how they could have played up further on the decimating the betrayers of family, since they themselves are strongly rooted as a family of brothers and a sister, who would not take kindly to anyone betraying their friends or family. Gable was obviously a target at first due to his treatment of the Alpha Academy, and later it could have been Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and this could have played up on many different tag teams that have betrayed each other, or many different former friends that were betrayed as well. And this could have extended over to either Raw, SmackDown, maybe even NXT, with the Wyatts looking out for the betrayed, since Bray Wyatt himself was all about family, dating back to the original Wyatt family. Bray's rivals. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, I would have loved to have seen the Wyatt Six targeting past opponents of Bray that done him wrong. None more so than Randy Orton, who both burned down Sister Abigail's cabin, Bray's longtime spiritual mentor, but also he wreaked havoc in the Firefly Funhouse and burned the Fiend. No one has caused more devastation to Bray in storyline than Randy Orton, but the Wyatt Six could have also been collectors of past sinful debts to other betrayers of Bray Wyatt's past and the Wyatt family's past, too. Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. Two obvious submissions from the stable, who had deep ties with Bray Wyatt, would have been great to eventually use as part of the group, and those two are Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. Team Little Big, Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss, has deep ties with each other, but they also have deep ties with Bray Wyatt. Braun, as the black sheep of the Wyatt family, dates back to 2015 when he joined the Wyatt family, and Alexa Bliss was transformed into a more dark character as she joined The Fiend in 2019. And these two could have worked as a stock targets of the group, who would eventually join forces to strengthen the Wyatt Six due to past history alone. Now, Braun, during 2020, was feuding with Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss had Uncle Howdy in early 2023 targeting her. This could have been revisited again in 2026, until eventually they reunited with and joined up with the Wyatt Six. A reunited Braun and Eric, tributing Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, along with Nikki Cross rejoining Alexa Bliss as a tag team, could have made this stable a force like no other. Their quest would not have been so much for gold, as that never was too important to Bray Wyatt himself, but it would have been a quest to instill fear, right their perceived wrongs, and be a threat to both the heels and the faces. This was touched on a little bit in September and October of 2025 when the Wyatt Six started attacking tag teams, both babyface tag teams like the Street Profits and heelish tag teams like the MFTs. I think these fleeting moments where we saw the Wyatt Six attacking either baby faces or heels was a pretty good use for them. They were seen to me at the time as shades of gray anti-heroes, agents of monstrous chaos. Unfortunately, it was a fleeting moment, and they got stuck in a long, never-ending feud with the MFTs. But I thought it would have been great to see them attack both babyface teams and both heelish teams. And not just teams, but single wrestlers, too. That would have gave them an edge of unpredictability that I thought would have been pretty awesome and worked well with them. Of course, their final feud with the MFTs lasted about 6 months. Sometimes it felt like it was a lot longer. And they just never could seem to keep that lantern in their camp for very long. Now, I was alright with the lantern storyline at first, but the way it finally played out with Tama Tonga just handing the lantern back to Uncle Howdy kind of weakened them a little bit. I would have liked to have seen Uncle Howdy and his cohorts absolutely destroy the MFTs, absolutely destroy anybody backstage, because losing their lantern should have made them lose their mind and made them even more monstrous in their quest to get back the lantern. Unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. My favorite part of the presentation of the Wyatt Six, other than the debut, was when the Wyatt Six had those early individual interviews. We got to take a peek and a look behind the psyche of each of the members of the Wyatt Six, and they got to tell what being in the Wyatt Six meant to them. Especially Bo Dallas's Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan, who had the deepest ties with Bray Wyatt. That was a very interesting look and a rare look at the emotions behind the monsters. I thought that was quite well done. Unfortunately, in some of the feuds, the plot got lost, and we kind of stopped seeing why they were doing what they were doing. The creative just wasn't there, and the motivation for them really wasn't there anymore. But that was more on the creative itself and not the players. The players, they had all the talent in the world. It's just that they lacked the storylines to help keep them stabilized. I think it was great that the WWE allowed us to see the Wyatt Six for nearly 2 years, and we got to see some of Bray Wyatt's ideas that were cut short due to his unfortunate untimely passing in 2023. Play forth on the TV in the form of the Wyatt Six. Because I remember early reports hearing that Bray was going to fight with Uncle Howdy and eventually join forces with him, bring in Alexa Bliss, bring in possibly Eric Young, among others, to play the different Funhouse characters. Of course, that got transformed when the Wyatt Six did show up on the television. And I think that the players that they had to play were great. You had the legacy members like Eric Rowan and the actual blood brother, Bo Dallas's Uncle Howdy. Then you had the new up-and-comers like Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy and Nikki Cross, who never had any past with Bray Wyatt on the TV, get to play tribute to him as well. And I would like to see, and hopefully in part or maybe whole, we'll get to see the Wyatt Six again. Not in WWE, perhaps TNA. I think that TNA would be a great place for them because they do dark characters pretty well. We had the Monster Abyss there, Rosemarie, the Undead Bride. We have the Broken Universe with Matt and Jeff Hardy. I think that would be a pretty good place for them, along with Father James Mitchell. And hopefully we could even see Aleister Black and Zelina Vega on TNA too. I think they'd do quite well in there as well. I would like to thank the Wyatt Six for the memories, and it was great to see them pay tribute to Bray Wyatt over the past couple of years. And hopefully we get to see them in the other release, Wrestlers, down the road really soon. I wish them all the best, and I thank you for watching. What did you like about the Wyatt Six? What would you have done differently with them? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I've been Preston E, and I gotta go.